When it comes to capital raising, here's why weaker deals sometimes win. And I've seen weaker deals win over stronger deals a lot. I deal with that every day, actually. I'm talking about lower returns, messier numbers, less exciting upsides. And that tends to confuse developers and sponsors out there because on paper, the better deal should always win, right? But the weaker deal tends to feel more familiar in a lot of cases. Investors immediately understand what kind of investment it is, how it fits in their portfolio, and roughly how these things tend to pan out. And that's the part that developers tend to miss. The boring ones tend to be the most obvious one. It's not always about the deal itself, it's really about the wrapper that you encase your opportunity. You can have a complex, ambitious plan with entitlements, land development, multi-phase, a long-term execution plan, but if you wrap it up in something that's familiar, that investors already recognize, something that looks and feels familiar, like a simple fund, fix and flip, single family development, that kind of thing, they're not tying themselves into a mental knot trying to figure it out from scratch, right? They're not guessing, they're simply pattern matching based on what they've already seen out. This isn't necessarily mis-selling or pulling the wool over anyone's eyes, it's just financial engineering and presenting an opportunity in a certain way where people know how to evaluate it already. And that's an advantage that a lot of developers tend to miss, in fact. If you choose the right wrapper, it's easier to target investors too. You can dramatically increase the size of your investor pool, your total addressable market, because of you're presenting something that's widely accepted in the market. They don't need to be educated from scratch. You don't need to stretch them too far out of their comfort zone for them to be able to acknowledge what you're offering. They're starting to things like, I've seen this before. I know how this works. I know how this pans out. And when you're doing that, they're not basing their decision based on novelty, basing it on pattern matching and familiarity. And that will beat optimization every single time. You don't need to have something super complex, even if it is presented to the investors in the first instance. Wrap it up in something that's familiar, something that's predictable, where the outcome is predictable, so that you can access that larger pool of investors out there and have them come in and you can share your master plan later, but get the money deployed first. That's the plan.